There's something quietly powerful about you. You don't see it. You don't chase it. But people feel it. You walk into a room and conversations shift, slightly, almost imperceptibly. You don't speak loudly. You don't demand attention. But something in your stillness speaks louder than words ever could. It's the kind of presence that can't be faked, can't be forced. It's born from something deeper, the sum of what you've endured, what you've learned to hold, and what you've stopped needing to prove. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Your magnetism lies exactly there, in what you haven't yet made conscious, the unspoken parts of you, the restrained emotions, the inner calm forged by chaos. You think you're just surviving, but to others, you appear in control. You think you're quiet, but to others your silence feels like gravity. Magnetism isn't always beauty. It's not charm. It's not confidence shouted from a rooftop. It's emotional control, felt, not performed. It's the ability to withhold reaction, to observe before responding, to stay centered when others unravel. That's what draws people in, because most people are at the mercy of their emotions. They chase validation, attention, noise. But you've learned the art of restraint. You know how to listen without needing to speak. You know how to look without needing to possess. You know how to exist without explaining your existence. That's power. And power, in its purest form, doesn't announce itself. It radiates. Sometimes that's why others project onto you. Why they overreact, compete, or even envy you. They feel something in you that reminds them of what they've lost. Their own center. Your calm unsettles people. Not because you intend to, but because peace exposes what chaos tries to hide. You've noticed it, haven't you? How people open up to you too quickly. How strangers confess things they've never said aloud. They sense safety in you, or mystery. Maybe both. You've become a mirror. Their emotions bounce off your composure. Their insecurities echo against your silence. That's emotional gravity. The invisible field that forms when you've learned not to leak energy through reaction. You no longer beg to be understood. You no longer explain your worth. You no longer chase what's leaving. And without realizing it, you've become magnetic. People don't gather around you for what you do. They gather for what you don't. Your self-restraint speaks to a kind of mastery they crave but can't name. Every connection is an exchange of energy. Every conversation, a quiet transaction of control and surrender. Some people walk into your life to test your balance, to see if they can shake your calm, to feel alive in your presence, even for a moment. But you've learned not to play their game. You sense when someone's pulling at your piece. You sense when attention becomes manipulation. And that awareness, that's the mark of someone who's evolving. Someone who no longer needs to win battles that only drain the soul. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who cannot command himself will always be a servant." You command yourself, even when you feel lost. Even when your emotions rise, you observe them. Even when you crave understanding, you wait. Because your energy is currency, and you've learned not to spend it recklessly. Your restraint becomes your mystery. Your mystery becomes your magnetism. In a world addicted to noise, stillness is rebellion. It unnerves people, because it cannot be influenced. Stillness is not absence. It's possession, possession of yourself. You've been through storms, emotional, spiritual, internal, and you've learned that not everything deserves your response. That silence can be sharper than anger. That walking away can be louder than arguing. That's why your presence feels different. You vibrate at a quieter frequency, one that only the emotionally intelligent can recognize. Some will mistake it for arrogance. Others will feel drawn to it without knowing why. Because true magnetism is not about pulling people in. It's about standing so firmly in your truth that the right ones naturally align. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the essence of your energy. Calm doesn't mean weak. Control doesn't mean cold. And stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening within. Here's the truth. You don't chase power. You embody it. It's not about dominance or control, it's about inner alignment. When your emotions obey your awareness, you stop leaking energy through reaction. You begin to attract through vibration, not effort. People sense authenticity in ways they can't explain. They know when someone's grounded. They know when someone's been through pain and turned it into poise. That's what makes you magnetic. Not perfection, but integration. You've met your shadow. You've faced your chaos. You've walked through your own fire and didn't come out bitter, just quieter. You no longer demand love, you inspire it. You no longer seek validation. You radiate self-respect. You no longer fear solitude. You breathe in it. And this is the kind of power that cannot be taken away. You begin to notice it, how people respond to your silence, how they linger a little longer when you speak softly, how they feel seen when you simply listen. That's not manipulation. That's mastery. True influence isn't about bending others to your will. It's about regulating the temperature of your own energy so fully that others naturally sink to your calm. You're not chasing validation anymore, you're anchoring presence. Most people are addicted to reaction. They live on emotional autopilot, triggered, defensive, desperate to be right. But you've begun to see the hidden mechanics behind it all. You've seen how emotion becomes motion, how energy moves when it's not restrained. And so you choose stillness. Not passivity, but command. It's subtle, but it's power. Because the one who controls their internal weather never fears the storm outside. And that control, that roundedness, it's rare. Rare enough that people feel magnetized. Not by what you show, but by what you withhold. You make them wonder. You make them feel. You make them question why they can't stop thinking about your presence, your tone, your eyes. You're not trying to be mysterious. You simply are. Because you're not trying at all. Every interaction is an exchange. Not just of words, but of energy. The world is full of people seeking attention, but starving for connection. They crave eyes on them, yet can't hold presence when it's given. You, on the other hand, give attention without losing yourself in it. You listen, but you don't absorb their chaos. You care, but you don't collapse. That balance, it's magnetic, because it's so rare. In relationships, this dynamic becomes clearer. Some will feel alive in your calm, others will feel threatened by it. Because your energy doesn't validate their volatility, it exposes it. You may notice people trying to pull reactions out of you, not because they dislike you, but because they need to feel real. They want to test if they can shake your center, if they can pull you out of that quiet confidence. But you've learned, the moment you react, you hand over control. The moment you over-explain, you lose power. Magnetism is not about getting others to move toward you. It's about standing so still that they can't help but orbit. It's an energy that says, I'm not here to be understood, I'm here to be felt. Your emotions are no longer your enemies. They've become your instruments. You've learned that to feel deeply doesn't mean to drown. It means to transmute. Anger becomes direction. Sadness becomes empathy. Fear becomes awareness. Every emotion you've mastered adds another note to your frequency. And that's why people sense depth in you, even before you speak. They don't see the years of self-discipline behind your poise. They don't see the nights you wrestled with overthinking, self-doubt, heartbreak, and silence. They only feel the result, a soul that doesn't flinch easily anymore. And here's the paradox. The more you own your emotions, the more your presence softens. The more power you hold, the less you need to use it. You don't perform strength, you embody it. You don't demand respect, you command it through stillness. You've become what Jung called an integrated self, not free from darkness, but at peace with it. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. That's your secret. Your magnetism is born from your reconciliation with shadow. You've met every piece of yourself and decided not to run anymore. And so you attract, not through light, but through wholeness. The world tells you to be louder, to brand yourself, to announce your worth. But real power moves differently. It flows in silence, in composure, in the way your presence shifts the energy of a room without a single word. You've realized something that most people never do. Magnetism isn't what you show. It's what you withhold with intention. It's the subtle pause before you speak. The measured calm before you react. The steady eye contact that says, I see you, but I'm not moved by you. And when you live like that, when your self-respect becomes non-negotiable, you stop chasing alignment. You become it. People can feel when you've stopped needing them to see you. It changes everything. The ones who are meant for you will rise to meet your energy. The ones who aren't will fall away, quietly, naturally, like leaves in autumn. And you won't chase, because your peace is worth more than their approval. You are secretly magnetic, not because you try to be, but because you've mastered the art of not trying at all. At some point you realize, you were never meant to chase attention. You were meant to command it, by being at peace with yourself. Magnetism isn't a skill. It's a state. It's what happens when the noise inside you quiets down enough for your true self to finally speak. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to fight for space. Your energy already tells the story. Every healed wound, every forgiven moment, every silence you chose instead of chaos. They built the invisible weight people now feel when they stand near you. And when you finally see it, when you stop underestimating the quiet force that moves through you, you understand why some people are drawn to you and others are repelled. You understand why your peace unsettles noise, and why your calm presence changes rooms before you even speak. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. You are not just magnetic. You are sovereign, and the world will always respond to that kind of energy. Take a breath. Let that truth sink in. And remember, you don't have to try to be powerful. You already are. Subscribe for more reflections like this. Deep, calm, and honest. Because your evolution deserves words that understand it.